Hey, welcome back, and in this video we're going to talk about action poses. And specifically we're going to look at the letters L and V and how we can use those two letters to give us some additional ways of drawing characters that are in a state of movement. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I want to do is I want to just draw the shape of the letter L. It's a block letter, and this L shape is going to be an approximation of the torso, the arms, and the legs. So let me demonstrate. Here is an L. It's an L, but I've just taken the bottom and kind of pulled it down, right? And I can use this as the body. So what I can do now is I can insert another L and attach it to the bottom here. And now I've got a foot, and I can add another L over here, and I've got another foot. This automatically puts the character in a dynamic pose because we've got tension here, right? When you're bending something, you create tension, you create squash and stretch. This front part of the character is squashed, the back part is going to be stretched. And if I shrink this down, I can apply that same idea for the arms. So here is an arm, and there is an L. And I'll just throw in a simplified head. And I'll draw another arm. I like to draw through the form. And we have another L. And I'll just approximate this hand like such. So we have our L, and we can use that to create some dynamic action poses. So what is the V then? So if we've got the V, if we look at the L and we look at the V, now I'm going to kind of exaggerate the V. The V is under a lot more tension. Imagine taking the bottom part of the L and then squeezing it like in a yoga pose where we have this V. So V has even more tension than the L. So if we wanted to, say, for example, draw a really strong guy that is about to flip over, this upper part here is the torso. I'll draw the head, and the bottom part here. And we're using that V with our L's. And sometimes you can also, everything doesn't have to be an L. Like say for example, if this guy is ricocheting off of some kind of a wall, you can have some straights in there too just to break things up. And I'll move this down here. Now we've got, this is our back leg, this is our front leg, and he's holding on to something. Maybe he's even looking down. That's his nose. So we can apply this concept now, and this works for drawing both male and female characters. The big thing that you want to keep in mind is how you draw the shape of the L or the V. So if we consider the idea of drawing a female character, right? Like the standard, I guess, model character. You're going to have a larger waist than top, right? So if we wanted to put that character into a dynamic pose, what we can do is we can just take that shape, and I'm going to move this down, and I can draw a head. And I'm going to just accentuate the hip a little bit there. And notice how we have these tapered forms And so we're using our L's and our V's. So practice that and let me know what you think of this technique in terms of using your L's and V's. Experiment with the size of the top part of the L versus the bottom part. And that L, by the way, can be flipped, right? So I can have a backwards L. So I can have, like, say, even if I wanted to just have a guy standing still, this L shape gives me a little bit more attitude. Than if I just drew him completely upright. And attitude is really important when you're trying to make something expressive. So that L can be flipped over in all sorts of ways. Now we can also imagine that L in 3 dimensions. So let's say that I want to have some foreshortening action happening towards us where the character is moving towards us. Well, what I can do is I can draw that L. Just imagine a 3D letter L where the bottom side is going to be much closer than the top, and there's a little bit of overlap there, right? If I wanted this to be, say, like a strong character, I can just go ahead and build on top of that L, draw the head somewhat small, and then draw the legs really big. And it's just a matter of exaggeration. So here's the hands. I'm going to keep that somewhat simple, and you can see what that overall shape looks like. So that's the tip for today. Looking at L's and looking at V's. Let me know what you think of this particular technique. Does it help you? Do you have other ideas on how you can approach this? And if you do put this into practice, please tag me on Instagram at Krishna Draws, and I can go ahead and take a look. I'd like to see what everyone's working on, and if you incorporate some of these techniques, please share that with me. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.